and Jay here with another edition of Jay's Big Adventure. Jay's the Fuzzy Guy. And today we are going over the money that we made or lost on our 1972 MG MGB. So if you haven't been following along, we have a series on how to buy and sell cars and make money at it. I show you how to find the inventory, how to buy it, how to negotiate as a buyer, when you go to get rid of it, how to negotiate as a seller, the importance of proper title work insurance, all this stuff. I've got 10, I think this is the 11th issue. And today I want to talk about how the program actually worked. A couple months ago, I was looking for a car for one of our daughters, and totally by accident, I ran across a 1972 MG MGB, and it hit all the criteria that I look for when I'm looking for a car. One, it had one grainy picture. It didn't have a very good description. Didn't really say much about the car, and it was about 3 hours outside of Salt Lake City, so it was in a small town, and that obviously hurts the market when you're trying to advertise it in a little bitty town. It was on Craigslist. It wasn't on KSL, which is the big newspaper out here, which is really our version of Craigslist for Utah. Craigslist doesn't do very much in Utah. KSL rocks, and it was on Craigslist. So blurry picture, lousy description, and not in market where I was going to resell it. So I called the guy, and he's 72 years old himself. He had a couple old motorcycles and this MGB, and he bought it from a guy who had rebuilt the engine, put it back together not very well. Carburetors were all messed up. It didn't run well. He had it for 5 years and just finally got tired of it and put it up on Craigslist. I bought the car for $4,250. Okay, this is a 72, so it is a chrome bumper car. It has real wire knockoffs, and the paint was absolutely dead, but mechanically it was really strong. When I called the guy, I said, look, realistically, how much rust is on a car? And he said, there is no rust. And I said, it's a British car. It is going to have rust. How much is there? He goes, okay, there are a couple little bubbles on one of the fenders. The underside of the car is really solid. That's what got my attention. An MGB that is not rusty is a very rare thing. So we negotiated a price of $4,250. I went up with a U-Haul trailer, got the car, brought it back to Salt Lake City, and proceeded to kind of go through the car. Because it had been sitting for so long, the carburetors were just a mess, and it was just simpler to pull them off, tear them apart, and completely rebuild the carbs, which we did. Before I did that, just for grins, I took it to the local emissions station, and here in Utah, the hydrocarbon emissions can be no more than 700. This was at 3570. It was 6 times the legal limit. Obviously, this is a problem. So at that point, then we took the carbs apart, rebuilt them, put them back together, and it passed the emissions, and the car is now completely road legal. The wheels were in bad shape. Luckily, they were painted, not chromed, because once chrome starts to go, it's just impossible to fix without disassembling the wheels and rechroming them. That's expensive, and I didn't have that kind of time. These were painted, so we sanded them, cleaned them up, painted the wheels, and it just changed the look of the car. Now, the other thing that made me interested in this car is that it had a brand new tonneau cover and it had a brand new top. All the stuff combined led me to purchase the car. And we did some other things. I bought a real wood steering wheel from Moss Motors, which is a big supplier of parts. The car was $4,250. We spent $135 on the trailer. I spent almost $130 on carbs and related parts, $25 for paint for the wheels. I spent $100 in gas, and I figured about $250 in labor. That means we had $5,240 in the car. I got $8,500 for it. I had it listed at $94.95. This is December in Salt Lake City, Utah. Nobody's buying convertibles, right? Had it at $94.50. Had a guy that was British, understood what the car was, rode in one when he was a kid, has always wanted one. He can paint it. It was the perfect scenario. Super nice guy. He came and bought the car, and down the road he went. So in total, we made $3,260 on this car in a month. Didn't take a lot of work. The hardest part was getting the carbs off and rebuilding them, but that's not that difficult. I've got a video coming out on that process. But this is what this channel is all about: is how do you do this? How do you start? What do you look for in a car to purchase? How do you write a killer ad for when you go to resell it? How do you negotiate to buy the car? How do you negotiate when you're selling the vehicle? How do you make sure you don't get screwed on title work? That is the single biggest way to lose money on a car, is to screw up the paperwork. So the series of 10 videos walks you through all these steps. Go back to episode 1, find that, watch it, go through the series, and then go out and try to find a car to flip. After we bought this little MGB, I wanted to look for the next car to flip, and I bought a 1988 Volvo 240 wagon. Hagerty is the largest insurer of collector cars in the US, and I was going through this. I got this today, and what did they put in their magazine as a car that's coming up in value? The Volvo 240 wagon. So my instincts are pretty good. All right, this car I bought for $2,000. You don't have to have a ton of money to start doing this. Buy a car that's cheap. Your risk is very low. You can turn a profit on it and turn that money back into the business and do another one. I think this is a $7,000 car. That's where I'm going to sell it once it's done. I'm going to do a little bit of work. It came with suspension parts. It came with a bunch of other pieces that are going to be valuable when I go to sell the car. This is the stuff that I look for. In addition to that, I just bought a 1996 Chevy S10, which is not in my wheelhouse. It is not a car that I would normally own, but it was a 159,000 mile car with a rebuilt engine and a manual transmission. There's my key. Okay, I now have a lot of interest in this particular piece, and it was $1,500. Okay, book on a 96 S10 is $5,300 something. So I've got quite a bit of room. I can put a little bit of money into it, which we're going to do, and I'll probably more than double my money on that, and it shouldn't take very long. So the process works. All you have to do is follow it. Go back. I'm going to send a link to the very first episode, which is on how to find inventory. Watch that, especially watch the one on title work. There is no easier way to get screwed on a car deal than to mess up the paperwork. So watch that one. I've got episodes on how to negotiate when you're buying the car, how to negotiate when you are selling the car, and all these pieces put together make a difference. And they will then allow you to keep your kitten in the lifestyle to which they have become accustomed. This is Zoe, and she's been a pretty good kitty for the most part, but now she's going to bite me. Anyway, thanks for watching. Please like, please share, please subscribe, and we'll have more videos out soon.